since we are done with the definition of rational exponents, how to simplify and evaluate them, pupunta naman tayo sa isa pang importanteng part ng lesson na ito, which is radicals. So, ano nga ba ang radicals? Radical expression or radicals are expressions containing the symbol called radical sign. So, let's have a given nth root of b raised to m. So, for this symbol, nth root of b raised to m, this symbol is our radical sign. Ang letter n naman na nasa kaliwa is our index or the order of the radical. And then, the value inside the radical sign is what we call the radicand. And this m is the power or the exponent of our radicand. So, for the value of n, this pertains to the degree of our radical sign. This could be a positive integer greater than 1, such as 2, 3, 4, and so on. So, n should be greater than 1. Hindi na natin ginagamit ang notion na first root of b. Kasi ang ibig sabihin nito, you are getting the first root of b or b raised to 1 over 1, simply that is equivalent to b. Kaya hindi na natin siya ginagamit. So, saan nagsisimula ang ating paghanap ng root? So, nagsisimula na siya sa 2. So, kaya po, ang square root of b ay pwede nang isulat ng wala ang 2 since understood na ang isang square root or ang isang radical sign na walang nakalagay na root is a square root. And then, for the cube root, we write this as cube root of b, then the fourth root of b, and so on. When we are getting the square root of a number, say, square root of n, we are actually getting two square roots. It could be the positive square root of n or the negative square root of n. So, for example, kagaya ng binigyan natin kanina, when we are looking for square root of 25, since square root of 25 is looking for the second root of 25, it is also equivalent to 25 raised to 1/2 na kagaya ng sinagutan natin kanina. And 25 raised to 1/2 is equivalent to 5. However, when we are pertaining to the positive factors of 25, we are looking for the principal factors. So, same is true with our radicals. When we are looking for the positive factors or positive square roots of the radical, so we are pertaining to our principal square root. So, unless otherwise stated, the square root of a number refers only to the positive square root. Now, ano meron kay even and odd roots? So, for even roots, let's have fourth root of 81. So, for the fourth root of 81, we can get 3. For the sixth root of 64, we can get 2, right? Now, let us try getting the fourth root of the negative 81. Okay, and the sixth root of negative 64. Can you find any number that when you multiply it 4 times by itself, the answer is negative 81? Or can you find a number that when you multiply it by itself in 6 times, the answer is negative 64? So, wala tayong makikitang ganong number since our root is even and our radicand is a negative number. So, itong parehas na to ay walang real root. Now, let us proceed with odd roots. So, pag sinabi naman nating odd roots, these are radical expressions that contains odd index or odd indices. So, let's have the third root of 64. So, the third root of 64 is 4. Another odd root is 5. The fifth root of 32 is 2. Now, let us try to find out kung merong third root ang negative 64 at fifth root ang negative 32. Okay. Can you think of a number that when you multiply it 3 times by itself, the answer is negative 64? Okay, that's negative 4. And how about this? A number when multiplied by itself ng 5 beses, the answer is negative 32. So, this is negative 2. Now, anong mapapansin natin sa dalawang set of examples? Okay? So we can conclude that when a radical expression contains a negative radicand and you are looking for an even root, you cannot find a real root. Kasi walang nag-exist na number na when you multiply it 4 times by itself, that is negative 81, and 6 times by itself, that is negative 64. Now, we are done with the definition of rational exponents and radicals. Ngayon, pupunta naman tayo sa last part ng lesson na ito, which is transforming expressions with rational exponents to radicals and vice versa. Now, let us proceed with the last part of this lesson, which is transforming rational exponents to radicals and vice versa. Actually, this part is easy na because if you already know the definition of radical exponents at the same time, the expression of radicals, mas mabilis na kayong makakapag-transform ng rational exponents to radicals and vice versa. Let's say m over n is a rational exponent. Ibig sabihin, pag sinabi natin rational exponent, siya ay isang fraction. And a is an element of a positive real number. So we can write a raised to m over n in the form of nth root of a raised to m. Now, this is also equivalent to the nth root of a quantity raised to m. Equal lang yan ha. Okay? Of course, this is true given that nth root of a raised to m is a real number. So, when we say a real number, ibig sabihin meron siyang real roots. Okay. So, para mas mabilis natin siya maintindihan, let us apply it with few of the examples na nasa inyong module. So, number 1, we have to rewrite 2 raised to 1/2 into a radical expression. So, para ma-rewrite natin siya, kailangan yung unang gawin is to find the denominator of the exponent. So, in this case, that is 2. This will serve as the n. At kung papansin nyo dito, yung n natin or the denominator sa ating exponential with the rational exponent ay nagsisilbing index ng ating radical. So, para mas mabilis natin siyang maisulat, hanapin nyo muna yung n. So, in this case, that is 2. So, 2 ang magiging index or order ng ating radical expression, and then you write the radical sign, you write the radicand inside the radical sign, and then you copy the exponent, which is 1. Yung m natin will serve as the exponent or the power of our radicand. Now, kung mapapansin nyo dito, sabi natin kanina, sa notion ng ating radicals, hindi na natin kailangang isulat ang 2 if we are looking for the square root or the second root since implied na siya sa isang radical sign na walang index. Same is true with 1. We do not have to write this since lahat ng constant na walang exponent na nakalagay ay automatic na merong implication na exponent na 1. So, ang 2 raised to 1/2 is equivalent to square root of 2. Now, let us have another example. That is 3a raised to 2/3. Okay? Now, paano naman kapag may parenthesis tapos merong factor sa loob? So, kaya siya may parenthesis ay implication yon na yung dalawang yon ay parehas na nasa loob ng radical sign. So, para mas madali, hanapin muna natin ang value ng n, which is the index. So, this will become 3 or cube root of 3a. So, ibig sabihin, parehas na value siya na nasa loob ng radical sign. So, sulat nyo yung 3a. And then, kung mapapansin nyo, the value of m is 2. So, this will pertain to the exponent of our radicand. So, parehas din siyang nakaraise sa 2. So, simply, that is the cube root of 3 squared is 9, a squared is a squared. So, meron tayong cube root of 9a squared. Another example, we have m raised to 1/3, n raised to 2/3. So, kung anong mapapansin natin dyan? So, mapapansin natin na parehas yung ating denominator. So, para mas mabilis natin siyang mai-transform sa ating radical expression, i-factor out natin yung exponent na same sa parehas na factors. So, we can write this as m, exponent of 1, and with exponent of 2 raised to 1/3. Okay? So, halos parehas lang din yan. No, not halos, but parehas lang talaga ang value nila. Ibiniba lang natin ng 4. Pinactor out lang natin ang exponent na 1/3. So, from this case, mas mabilis na natin siyang maire-raise sa ating or maisusulat sa ating radical expression kasi halos parehas lang ang form na ito. Isusulat natin siya as the cube root of m n squared. For the fourth example naman, we have 8a raised to 4/5. May gusto akong i-point out dito sa example na to. Kung mapapansin ninyo, ano yung naka-raise sa 4/5? So, kailangan nyo mapansin na ang naka-raise sa 4/5 ay yung a lamang. Yung 8, anong exponent niya? 1. So, ibig sabihin, hindi porket magkadikit ang factors, tapos naka-raise siya sa isang exponent, kapag isinulat na natin siya sa radical expression, pareha silang nasa loob. Unlike sa given natin kanina kasi naka-parenthesis. So, ibig sabihin, buo yun. Lahat yung factors na yun inasa loob ng radical sign. Kung mapapansin natin dito, meron siyang pagkakaiba. So, anong gagawin natin sa kanya? Since 8 is not raised to any rational exponent, we will still write it as like this. And then, ito ang itatransform natin. 5 will serve as the index. So, this will become 5th root of a raised to 4. Yung 8 na iwan sa labas since hindi naman siya naka-raise sa ating rational exponent. Last example, we have 64 all over 125 quantity raised to negative 2/3. Okay, so ito medyo pinagsama-sama na natin lahat ng natutunan natin. Ngayon, huwag kayong malilito or huwag kayong magpapanik na nagsama-sama na sila, so hindi na siya masasagutan. Ang key dito, kailangan nyo siyang isa-isahin. Sabi natin kay lesson 1, or natutunan natin sa lesson 1, na when we are raising a rational expression, a fraction, to a negative exponent, anong gagawin natin, di ba? You just have to get the reciprocal of the base, and then write it with a positive exponent. So, same is true with this. This will become 125 all over 64. Quantity raised to positive 2/3. Okay? Anong pinagkaiba? Kinuha ang reciprocal, pinagbaliktad, at isinulat sa positive exponent. So, now, positive na exponent niya, mas mabilis na natin siyang masasagutan. So, anong sunod na step para mas mabilis natin siyang masagutan? So, isusulat natin ang ating index na cube root of a fraction. That is 125 all over 64. At meron siyang exponent na 2. Now, kung makikita nyo, we can evaluate this as the cube root of 125 all over the cube root of 64. So, this will become the cube root of 125 is 5 and the cube root of 64 is 4. Quantity raised to 2. So, simply, 5 squared, or when we apply the power of a quotient rule, this will become 25 all over 16. Now, let us proceed with transforming radicals into rational exponents. So, madali lang din to. Again, kapag alam natin ang definition ng radical expression at saka ang rational exponents, mabilis natin siyang maitatransform. Now, ang 6th example sa inyong module is 8th root of x cubed. So, when we are finding the 8th root of x cubed, kung ito kanina, or ang ating index kanina, ay magsisilbing denominator ng ating exponential with rational exponent, so ganun din siya. Kapag isinulat natin siya, kunin ang radical, or ang radicand rather, kunin ang radicand, and then isulat ang index as the denominator of the exponent, and then you write the exponent of the radicand as the numerator of the exponent. So, simply, ganun lang siya. Right? Next, number 7. Example here ay 6th root of 2x squared y cubed. So, kapag nire-write natin siya, madali dahil ang factors ay parehas nasa loob ng, or lahat sila ay nasa loob ng radical sign. So, kapag nilabas natin siya, this will become 2x squared y cubed quantity raised to 1/6. Number 8. How about fifth root of 121? P raised to 6. So we can rewrite this as 121 p raised to 6 quantity raised to 1/5. However, mapapansin natin 121 is a perfect square. So pwede natin siyang isulat as 11 squared p raised to 6 quantity raised to 1/5. And then, pwede pa natin i-factor out ang exponent na to sa loob ng ating expression or ng parenthesis. So, pwede natin siyang isulat as 11p raised to 3 quantity raised to 2 quantity raised to 1/5. Ano po nangyari? Pinactor out natin ang square root na to sa 11 squared at exponent na to sa p raised to 6 kasi 6 divided by 2, that is 3. Right? And then, nakaraise sa 1/5. So, mas madali natin siyang mai-simplify as 11p cubed quantity raised to 2/5. Okay, so for number 9, we have the square root of 32 all over b raised to 15 c raised to 25. Para dito, since wala tayong index, automatic ang ating exponent, ang denominator niya ay 2. Rewrite natin siya. So, become 32 b raised to 15 c raised to 25 quantity raised to 1/2. Ang 32 is a perfect fifth root. So, pwede natin isulat as 2 raised to 5 all over b raised to 15 c raised to 25. And then raised to 1/2. Kung papansin natin, sa ating mga exponents, sila lahat ay divisible by 5. So, pwede natin itong i-simplify as 2 all over, i-factor out natin yung exponent na 5. b raised to 3, c raised to 5, quantity raised to 5, quantity raised to 1/2. So, simply, we can rewrite this as 2 all over b cubed, c raised to 5, quantity raised to 5/2. For the last example, number 10, we have the cube root of m raised to 35, n raised to 14, p raised to 7, and q raised to 28. So, rewrite natin siya into rational exponents or exponential with rational exponents. So, it will become m raised to 35, n raised to 14, p raised to 7, and q raised to 28. Quantity raised to 1/3. Anong mapapansin? Lahat ng exponent ay divisible by 7. So, pwede natin i-factor out ang exponent na 7 para mas mabilis natin siyang masimplify. So, 35 divided by 7, that is 5. 14 divided 7, that is 2. P raised to 7 or 7 divided by 7, that is 1. So, we do not have to write 1 here. Then, Q raised to 4. Quantity raised to 7 raised to 1/3. Simply, we can write this as m raised to 5 n squared all over p q raised to 4 quantity raised to 7 over 3. So this ends our lesson 2. I hope that you were able to further understand the lesson through this video. If you have further questions, you can address it during our synchronous meetings. So after nito, you are expected to answer self-check 1.2 na uploaded under ng self-check 1.2 sa Google Classroom. And then you have to submit your answers or the picture of your answers sa Google Form na naka-upload din under ng self-check 1.2. So I hope through this video, you were able to think, wonder, and explore mathematics through rational exponents and radicals. Thank you.